everyone. Because COVID-19 era is not over yet, but government has laid down a lot of benefits for us, for the businesses, small and medium businesses, and we have wonderful speaker here to give us a deep knowledge on how we can take benefits of those. जय जिनेंद्र, मैं वेलकम करना चाहूंगा हमारे वाइस प्रेसिडेंट एपेक्स विजय जी भंडारी को, हमारे चैप्टर चेयरमैन कांतिलाल जी ओसवाल को, आज के हमारे स्पीकर रामायर कन्नन सर को, सीए भाटिया जी को, हमारे मॉडरेटर सीए मंगेश जी कटारिया और सीए सुदीप जी छलानी को, एंड ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स हु आर इन द रूम टुडे. थैंक यू वेरी मच. हम नवकार महामंत्र से शुरू करेंगे. कोई भी कार्य जीतू की प्रथा है कि नवकार महामंत्र से हम काम शुरू करते हैं. तो मैं चाहूंगा कि विजय जी भंडारी और कांतिलाल जी प्लीज start the meeting with Navkar Mahamantra and recite. And everybody who is co-host can recite.
Namo Siddhaya, Namo Ayariyana, Namo Vajayana, Namo Esu Karo Savapana.
Thank you. Jai Jinendra, thank you. Once again, a warm welcome. Straightway moving to the program because it's already 16:05, 4:05 हो चुके हैं. तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा CA Sudeep ji Chalani, who is one of the moderator, to introduce our today's speaker, CA Bhatia ji ko, and then we'll have a session from him. Later on, CA Mangesh ji Kataria will introduce our second speaker, Ram Iyer Kannan ji ko, and then he will also have his speech. And then later on, we'll move to question and answer session. So I would request all the participants to please type in your question and answers during the question hour session in the chat room, so moderators can pick up your questions and ask to the speaker. Thank you very much. Over to you, CA Sudeep ji Chalani.
Thank you, Ajay. Jinendra, and good afternoon to all esteemed JITO, Apex board members and our respectful speakers. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, CACS LLB Shri Anandji Bhatia from Mumbai. He is a partner in Bhatia & Associates LLB, Mumbai, and has a vast experience over 2 decades, and who is also going to enlighten us about MSME. Anandji is a managing committee member of prestigious Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, Chamber of Tax Consultant of India. He is also a member of Real Estate Committee of Indian Merchant Chambers. Anandji is a regular speaker at national and international gathering for Ministry of Corporate Affairs and other international trade associations. Anandji is also a regular speaker in other international trade associations. Further, he is closely involved in mentoring and assisting various new age business and represents independent directors on various listed companies. He is an award-winning professional who has also guided many industries, manufacturing units, best known entrepreneurs in MSME sector. I am confident and I can ensure you all that this session will surely add different horizons to your business, as the subject is deeply interested considering the recent amendments and allocation of funds by the government. So with this short introduction, I would hand over to Anandji, please.
Thank you, Sudeep, for the warm introduction. Jai Jinendra to everyone, and good evening, everyone. Delighted to be here at a JITO platform and discuss on the topic that is close to my heart on micro, small, medium enterprises or businesses in general. Friends, I have a very short presentation that we will go through, and then we will also take questions as we go forward. Let me share my screen and then we take it forward. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible, friends. So, friends, what I plan to cover today is context of where and what MSMEs are, how do you register for an MSME, and what are the benefits that the government is giving us as micro, small, and medium enterprises. As Sudeep said, COVID-19 is an event in our lives which will be remembered for decades and centuries to come. We will remember this period as pre-COVID era and post-COVID era. I think the impact has been so significant on our lives. While the challenge of life has to some extent been addressed in India with the lockdown for more than 60 days, I think the bigger challenge which is now coming is to livelihoods or to businesses. And this challenge is only going to come now when the aftershocks and the effects of the lockdown or the unlocking unfolds on all of us. So in this context, it is extremely important that we understand what are the benefits given by the government bodies, because we need to make sure that we take the maximum benefit out of it. We can crib and cry that this is different, it should be more, it should be less, but at least we should know what benefits are and make sure that we take them to the maximum. So friends, let's set a high level context on what MSMEs are from that perspective. So yeah, I think there's some drawing that is coming. Let me just clear it. Okay. So first thing, friends, that comes to my mind is that how many MSMEs are there? And there are about 6.3 crore MSMEs as we speak today. Now, 6.3 is a large number. If you look at the number of companies that are there in India today, there are about 10 lakh companies. And there is so much of noise about companies. In fact, 10 lakh also is the highest number of companies registered under a single act anywhere in the world. And as compared to 10 lakh companies, we have almost 630 lakh MSMEs or 6.3 crore MSMEs across India. If we go to bifurcate these MSMEs into manufacturing, services, and trading, I think there is an equal composition as per a 2016 survey, about 2 crore 10 lakh in manufacturing and an equal number into services and trading. Now, the most important point in relation to MSMEs is that they generate about 11 crore jobs. This is second only to agriculture as far as India is concerned. And this is where, friends, a lot of focus under the Atmanirbhar package is on MSMEs, thanks to the job opportunity that MSMEs can potentially provide. Again, jobs is equal between manufacturing, services, and trading, about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 each. Now, when we talk about jobs, as we all know, in India, capital is a constraint. Some companies or some countries have strength of capital, like the Western countries, the North American companies, they fight with their capital muscle. Some countries have the muscle in their technology, maybe some of the Far East companies, some of the Japanese companies. I think from an India perspective, certainly we are starved as far as capital is concerned. We are catching up as far as technology is concerned. But the strength that we have is our skilled labor, is our workforce, is our demographics, that what we need to capitalize on. And in today's lockdown situation, a post-COVID-19 era where people have gone back to their states, I think jobs is one big challenge that Atmanirbhar Bharat is trying to solve. If there is 1,000 crores of capital available, let's take an example. I can give that 1,000 crore to one entrepreneur and tell him to set up a steel plant, a state-of-the-art steel plant, 1,000 crores. It will give employment to, let's say, approximately 1,000 people. So for every 1 crore, I have generated one employee. 1,000 crore steel plant, 1,000 employees. But if I split that 1,000 crore of capital that India has and give it to 10 smaller businesses, 100 crore each, into steel ancillary unit, processing unit, semi-processing units, at 100 crore, these medium enterprises can generate almost 500 employees per unit. So effectively the same 1,000 crores, if I gave it to 10 different entrepreneurs, I could generate entrepreneurship of 1:5. For every 1 crore, I generated 5 employees. And friends, this equation really extrapolates when you give loan to micro, small and medium enterprises. Even 1 crore loan to a MSME can clearly generate 10 jobs if deployed well. And that is the equation that the entire Atmanirbhar Bharat is based on, that let's give smaller loans to these MSMEs. And even if there can be a little bit of improvement in their employment generation capacity, we are doing a big difference. Because if you see 6.3 crore MSMEs, 11 crore jobs. So effectively it is one MSME employed 2 people. Now that is a very small ratio. And even if from 2 it goes to 3, because of the support by the government and an enabling ecosystem, you are looking at adding 7 crore jobs to the ecosystem that we are talking about. Now that's the kind of employment support that we need. And hence you will see that the biggest beneficiary maybe of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package are MSMEs. And we will talk about the various benefits that are available today and the new benefits that have been made available by Atmanirbhar Bharat. Friends, MSMEs contribute 30% to India's GDP. Now, this was again a 2017 number, and that number is consistent even today. And this 30% of India's GDP is a huge number. It is more than the total economy of many countries. And our MSMEs today are adding that to the GDP. And in terms of exports, almost 50% of total exports from India, friends, again, a very large number, is contributed through micro, small and medium enterprises. Keep in mind, these numbers are based on the old definition of MSME, where there were lesser number of MSMEs that were considered. Now the government has enhanced the definition of MSME. And now if you see the contribution of MSMEs to our GDP and to our export, it will be clearly much larger and the visibility will come in terms of size. Now, the government in 2006, many professional friends would know, thought that let us formalize, let us create an ecosystem wherein MSMEs can get registered and benefits can be given to them. And an act was brought up, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Act 2006. There was voluntary registration that was allowed. And as we speak today, today's morning figure, there are about 1.35 crore MSMEs who are registered under the MSMEDA Act. So 6.3 is the overall population. From the 6.3, about 1.35 only are registered under the MSMEDA Act. Many of us would know of Udyog Aadhar, or many of us in the earlier times would have heard about Entrepreneurs Memorandum. Now, before 2013-14, for an MSME or an industry, it was required to file an Entrepreneurs Memorandum and then you get registered. Come 2014, the new government and Mr. Modi, in one of his classical Man Ki Baat that he does once in a month, said that let's make it a very simple process for registering MSME. And he brought in the concept of Udyog Aadhar. So what Aadhar is to individuals, Udyog Aadhar is to MSMEs. And about 1.35 crore businesses have registered themselves for Udyog Aadhar. If you see this number same time last year, let's say July 2019, it was only at about 80 lakh registrations. And now in the last almost 1 year, the number of registrations has been doubled. I have been tracking this number since also last 1 month now, from the time the Atmanirbhar Bharat package was allowed. And effectively about 15 lakh new registrations have happened post the MSME announcement in Atmanirbhar Bharat. So more and more businesses are getting registered, are coming into the mainstream because of the benefits that lie in terms of doing that. If you talk about the state distribution, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal have the highest number of MSMEs, about 14% each. Tamil Nadu comes third, and our state Maharashtra is the fourth in terms of number of MSMEs. So clearly, friends, these facts are too large for any government to ignore. And that is where MSMEs are the backbone of the Indian economy. And if your backbone is strong, certainly your performance can be better. So the focus right now is on the backbone, that is MSMEs, and how do we improve their functioning. Before we go to the registration and the benefits, friends, the question comes is, why does India have such large number of MSMEs? And typically you don't see too many MSMEs in many of the North American countries or even in the Far East countries. But why does India have such large number of MSMEs? And when I was thinking aloud and discussing with a few thought leaders, I think there are 5 factors why India per se has so many 6.3 crore medium, small, and micro organizations. I think the first factor is entrepreneurship. Now, by default, we as Indians are fairly entrepreneurship, especially the Jain community, the Gujarati community, Marwadi community. Business or entrepreneurship is in the blood. I remember my grandmother telling me ki, nanu pan potanu, chota ho lekin apna. Whatever we'll do, I think there is an element of thinking that can we get entrepreneurship into it. In fact, when we selected chartered accountancy, one of the factors is that you can do job also and you can do practice also. So all that functionality, entrepreneurship is somewhere inbuilt into Indians. And as per a 2019 study, India ranks second in terms of per capita entrepreneurs that we are talking about. So second factor is age of population. Now today, as we speak, the average age of Indians is 29 years. I think other than Sudeep, everyone on this call would have crossed that limit, and maybe even Sudeep would have crossed that limit. But what we are saying is that the age of the average Indian is 29. And typically, when a large part of your population is still in that age, the businesses would also be smaller. Generally, we have seen that businesses grow with the life of an entrepreneur and they die with that particular entrepreneur. Only a fairly less number of companies can migrate to a second generation or to a third generation. So age of population makes our businesses also fairly small. The third is recent opening up. Friends, keep in mind, it's only post, let's say 1991, when the liberalization happened, that Indian businesses and private sector in particular actually could come into business. Before that, it was license Raj and various other requirements, and it was not a free economy as we are seeing today. Now, you would think that 30 years is good enough period for businesses to grow big, but we are talking about a country, friends, and 30 years is not a big time. I remember working with a client on an M&A transaction, and the buyer was a French company. And when I was discussing with that representatives of the buyer company, I got to know that the company is registered in the year 1665. So it's a more than 350-year-old company who is competing and buying businesses in India. Now, many of us would have heard the name Saint-Gobain. Now, it's a 350-year-old company. As we speak in Japan today, there are countries which are more than 1400 years old. You wouldn't believe it, but go and Google that oldest companies, and you would find about 7-8 companies in Japan which are set up 1400 years before, that is in 1600 AD. In that context, if you see 30 years, it's a fairly small period. And that is why our businesses are also fairly smaller. We did not have an ecosystem for a long period of time. MSMEDA Act only came in 2006. In fact, the bulk of amendments came in 2014 when it was further streamlined. The ecosystem was never there for supporting MSMEs, and the current system also has a lot of scope for improvement as we go forward. You would see trade associations like JITO and many other community, which is a very strong support in India, would also be a 10, 15, 20-year phenomena. And the ecosystem is only coming in now. And last is limited access to capital. Friends, India though has the largest GDP, we also have a second largest population, and which is where the per capita access to capital is fairly limited. And if you don't have capital, your competitiveness and size gets affected. So these 5 reasons clearly trigger a large number of MSMEs. But I think the solace is that every large corporation was once an MSME. So we have to pass through that only to see that these businesses grow. A micro grows into small, a small grows into medium, and a medium grows into what Narendra Modi calls a champion industry or a champion business. So how does law define MSME? Now, until recently, law was bifurcating into micro, small, and medium enterprises depending on the investment threshold. For example, micro was defined as 25 lakh of investment for manufacturing, and for services it was a 10 lakh. Similarly, there were categories for small and medium. There was always a ask. This is not as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat or in the lockdown that the government thought that let's increase the limit. There are various committees that have recommended that this limit should be increased. And let's have more and more companies come into the formal threshold. So the revised definition of MSME, which is applicable from 1st of July, friends, 1st of July 2020 is as below. As far as micro, for manufacturing and services both, investment needs to be less than 1 crore, and it's not or, it's and. So you have to comply with both the definitions. And turnover should be less than 5 crores. Question comes is that what is investment? Now, as far as investment is concerned, you need to consider for a manufacturing business, your investment in plant and machinery only. No need to consider land, building, equipment, furniture, nothing. Similarly, for turnover, you would consider the domestic turnover, and the guidance until now was that export turnover will be excluded. But somehow in this recent notification that has come in, there is no clarity whether export turnover will be considered in this or not. So we'll have to wait and watch. But as classically understood, this is the domestic turnover that we are talking about, and the investment is the gross value. Similarly, you have small businesses and medium businesses in terms of what is their classification. The medium was recently increased investment of 50 and turnover of 250 just last week, and this has now been notified. So from 1st of July, this is the threshold. If you fall under this threshold, you can register for yourself as a MSME. Now, how does one register for an MSME? Assuming that you are falling under that threshold of micro, small, or medium, you can yourself, and I would encourage you all to do this yourself rather than paying to someone or appointing a consultant or doing anything, because it's a very simple process. If you can operate WhatsApp on your mobile phone, you are good enough to go online and register your business for Udyog Aadhaar. The website, I have mentioned it over here, www.udyogaadhaar.gov.in. You can log in on that. There are instructions. It's an Aadhaar linked registration. So if you have an Aadhaar, you will directly get an OTP on your mobile. You add details, and within a couple of days, you would get that number. Friends, there is no need for any certification by any attorney, notary, chartered accountant. There is no need to attach any documents. There is no need to pay any fees, and there is no need to submit any physical documents. So effectively, if you are a proprietorship, LLP, private limited company, partnership, whichever be your model, If your investment and turnover are below the threshold, please consider registering yourself, and there are the benefits that you get once we register ourselves as an MSME. But it's a fairly simple process. They have uploaded videos on how can you do it. You can of course take help of your chartered accountants, but I would recommend it's a fairly simple process for you to do it yourself. You can even have multiple Udyog Aadhars on a single Aadhar number. You may have 2 or 3 proprietorship of yours, and you can have different Aadhar numbers as well for those multiple businesses that you may have. So once I register, what are the benefits that I get as an MSME? Now, friends, there are more than one forces at play at the government and at the regulatory level to provide benefits to the MSMEs. The first is the Ministry of MSME, and it is headed by none other than our strong minister from Maharashtra, Mr. Nitin Gadkari. And you will see his sign and blessings on most of the MSME ministry schemes that are there. But this ministry is fairly active in churning out benefits for MSME and making sure that this backbone of India is strong and remains strong. The second body that is helping MSMEs and giving out benefits is the Reserve Bank of India. Like we saw, capital is something that is a big constraint for MSMEs, and Reserve Bank of India, through the banks, through the cooperative banks, through the scheduled commercial bodies, has tried to ease some of the issues that MSMEs face. The third is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or MCA. Especially in far as companies are concerned, the MCA is fairly active, and we'll see some of the benefits that MCA has given. Ministry of Finance, we saw the finance minister coming on 4 or 5 different days and explaining the entire Atmanirbhar Bharat package. Ministry of Finance is taking some strong steps for MSME benefit, and we'll see that. Friends, MSME is a state subject as much as it is a central subject. And individual state governments have also given benefits to promote the MSMEs in their state. So when you are looking at the available benefits for MSMEs, don't just look at the central government's benefit, but also make sure that if you are setting up a unit in Maharashtra or a service business in Maharashtra, you also consider the benefits given by Maharashtra government, because those are also tangible and those are also a competitive advantage when you are doing your business. Friends, when times are challenging like they are today, I think it is in our interest to make sure that we take the maximum of the benefits that are available. And today's seminar by Jito is towards that cause, that there is awareness. You at least know what benefits are available. And ultimately we see for each one of us whether we can implement or take advantage of those or not. So as far as the MSME ministry goes, there are about 30 different schemes. These are, some schemes are for coir industry, khadi industry, rural industries, agro industry, and quite a few are for also services industry. There is a list in the next slide which we will go through, but these 30 schemes are available on the MSME website, and it is filtered based on your business as well. So if you think your business is in that particular segment, make sure you go to the MSME website, see that scheme, check your eligibility, and apply for that scheme. There is a Sambandh, Samadhan, and Sampark. These 3 S that you would hear in the MSME segment. We'll talk about that, but it's a very important scheme by the MSME ministry, and there's a separate slide on Samadhan, Sambandh, and Sampark. The RBI. As far as RBI is concerned, lending to MSMEs for the banks classified as priority sector lending. So if you are a registered MSME and the bank has a quota of priority sector lending 20% or whatever be that category of the bank, if you have a MSME registration, the bank can check the box and fulfill the priority sector lending. So that is one thing, that banks have to lend a particular percentage to MSMEs. RBI through banks also has an interest subvention scheme where 2% interest on your working capital facility is something that is reduced by the banks, and it is an interest subvention that is given to the banks. Now, I for one and the firm that I represent, we registered ourselves for MSMEs many years back, and we have taken advantage of some of these interest subvention schemes. So I can vouch that some of these subvention schemes do work. if you have the necessary grit and going behind it and actually applying for those and following them up. It shouldn't be a case that you hear this seminar and after 2 days there is no action. But if you will action, I'm sure there are many benefits that you can take out of this. A very important RBI initiative is the Trade Receivable Discounting Exchange. And for one, I like this concept very much, TREDS. And there's a separate slide, the third slide, we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail. For giving loans to MSMEs, and if they default, banks don't have to provide it completely, but there is a liberalized provisioning for banks. As we speak, there is a MSME restructuring scheme that is going on for banks up till December 2020. And in case of a default, restructuring for MSMEs is also easier as compared to non-MSMEs. MCA. Now, friends, the MSME Act says that every MSME should be paid his invoice within 45 days of the date of the invoice. In case the invoice has not been paid, there is a mandatory interest that will have to be paid by the client or the customer. That interest is linked to compounded interest rate on a monthly rest at a percentage that is equal to 3 times the bank rate. So any delay by your customer or client beyond 45 days, you have a right to claim interest on that particular payment if you are a registered MSME. Now, question was that this was a good provision, but how do you implement that? So MCA says last year that every company beyond that threshold needs to intimate to ROC twice a year in that Form 1 as to what is the outstanding that is due to MSMEs. And once you give that data to ROC, there is action that can be taken potentially when that data point is available. Similarly, every company in their financial statements or balance sheet has to disclose what is the amount outstanding to micro, small and medium enterprises. Many chartered accountants, Sudeep and others, Mr. Mangesh on the call would know that in the schedule of creditors, it has to be bifurcated between creditors which are micro, small and medium and other creditors. So that is also, you bring sunlight as to how much is this company not paying to MSMEDA, submit details to ROC and charge mandatory interest. Because friends, working capital is the biggest issue for MSMEs. And as per RBI study, an average receivable for a MSME is 140 days. So we are talking about average receivable of about 4.5 months. And that sort of working capital in a capital-starved country can, dampen the prospects of an MSME. So mandatory payment, all of us should take advantage if you are falling under that MSME thing. There is a fast track exit foreclosure if businesses are not successful. And similarly, for small companies, there are benefits that MCA gives. The Ministry of Finance comes up with various tax benefits. There is a special provision in Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code for MSMEDA and the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, which has also been a Ministry of Finance initiative, which is a joint initiative with some of these other ministries. The state government, especially Maharashtra state, has a package scheme of investment. And I would advise you all to go on maitri.mahaonline.gov.in, predominantly applicable to manufacturing industries, but you have concession electricity bills, concession in stamp duty, concession in payment of certain taxes, the non-agricultural cess, and various other benefits which are available. And the digital way of doing things is so easy that there is minimum interface of going to the district commissioner for getting any of these approved. You can apply online. There is a tracking mechanism that is at play. And if you don't get, there are grievance mechanisms that are there. So a lot of incentives. We'll focus a little bit more on what the MSME ministry does. So this is a list of 32 schemes. Clearly, we can't cover them today. But what you should do is go on this website, msme.gov.in. And last week, Narendra Modi launched a website called champions.gov.in along with the MSME ministry. And it's a single window website. So you don't have to go to any other website for knowing the MSME benefits. It has a clear listing of new schemes, existing schemes, Udyog Aadhaar. So champions.gov.in should be your go-to point for knowing what benefits are available by various ministries. But all this is available as we speak. Let's talk about certain key initiatives already available. From the list of initiatives that we saw, I think the first one that stands out is Samadhan. Like we said, if it is a delay of more than 45 days in payment of your invoice, today the legal system in India may not be fairly equipped to handle so many cases in such a swift manner. And for a 5 lakh rupee case, it doesn't make sense for me to go to a court and file a court. Sometimes the process of litigation is more than the punishment that one ultimately gets out of the Indian legal system. So given that, Samadhan is an initiative by the MSME ministry. It is equal to arbitration under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Any MSME can file online on the Samadhan portal if there is a delay. And within 90 days is the committed time frame that you will get a resolution, either yes or no. Important point, friends, over here is that if the Samadhan window says that yes, money needs to be paid to you, appeal by the customer or the client against the order of the Samadhan window can happen only after he deposits 75% with the Samadhan window. So it is that much more disincentive for someone to go and appeal. It is a fast track arbitration window, completely online, and make sure that you take advantage of the Samadhan window that is available to micro and small. Friends, this initiative is not available to medium category within the MSME. This is available only to micro and the small category industries. Sambandh. Now, Sambandh is the Government of India portal where any company today who has a turnover or who is a public sector entity needs to make sure that is registered on the Sambandh portal, and 20% of the purchases of central public sector undertaking should happen through MSME. So you will find tenders, you will find all of their procurement orders coming up on the Sambandh portal. You can also register yourself for a data bank that is there on the Sambandh portal, and you will get relevant emails whenever there is a particular tender that is floated by a government company in procurement from MSMEs. Sampark is a job portal. As a MSME, if at all you would like to hire someone, or for people who would like to get employed, no need to go and pay any job portal agency, but Sampark gives you entitlement to screen candidates and select them. SIDBI, the Small Industries Development Bank, there are at least about 10 initiatives that SIDBI is conducting as we speak, apart from the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium, in terms of giving online loans, in terms of giving equity investment. And SIDBI.in is a portal where one can go and apply online if at all small loans or equity investment is something that an MSE is looking for. There is a credit-linked capital subsidy scheme, again of the ministry, that if at all you are raising loan for doing a capital investment in technology or upgrading your machinery, then government will give you subsidy of a particular percentage because it's a capital-linked credit subsidiary. There is also a collateral loan-free today of up to 1 crore. Under Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have seen there is a 3 lakh crore emergency window. That is different. As we speak today, there is a collateral-free loan window available up to 1 crore. And similarly, there is a 1% interest benefit on overdraft facility for MSME. Now, these are very simple schemes. You have to go online, you have to tell your bank, give him your MSME registration. With some legwork and grit, you will get these benefits. Intellectual property rights and international marketing. If you want to go for patent registration, 50% of your cost will be paid by the government. There's a subsidy. If you want to participate in an international trade fair, or if you are looking to bring the trade fair in India, there are reimbursement 100% of participation cost on international trade fair that schemes are available. So this is just a glimpse of what different initiatives are currently available. And the TREDS, the Trade Receivable Discounting Platform that I spoke about, is also currently available. Now, As we spoke, friends, the typical problem of MSMEs is working capital. Now here am I, a auto component maker, a MSME. I have raised the invoice on Maruti. I'm just saying a name. Now it's a 5 lakh rupees invoice. It is payable after 45 days. But I want liquidity today. So there is a platform available, which is TREDS, under which I can go and upload my invoice of 5 lakh rupee. Maruti, who is a company, is mandated because he is a company which is more than 500 crore rupee, and all companies which are more than 500 crore rupee have to mandatorily register on the TREDS portal. So Maruti will say, yes, Anand, I owe you 5 lakh rupees on your invoice. So Maruti has acknowledged my invoice. The third, lenders will say that, yes, here is the invoice of Maruti. Maruti is saying that after 45 days I will pay. Let me give a loan to Anand. Now it's a non-recourse financing of my invoice that can happen on this platform. Otherwise, I cannot do a bill discounting or a factoring for a 5 lakh rupee invoice. But here I can go for MSMEs. I can get a without recourse discounting. Mind you, friends, the bank has security of Maruti. So the interest rate that I get charged over here is not a 14% that a MSME would ideally pay, but a Maruti Suzuki interest rate, because the security profile is of that company. It is unsecured, no documentation, registration, anything. It's an online portal on that exchange that is available. For corporates, you can save on your procurement cost. Borrowing doesn't come in your books. In your books, it is only creditors. You don't have an additional loan that comes, but a creditor has got that particular money. And for lenders who have a 20% priority sector lending, they don't have to go and search for MSME. They can go on this portal, take those invoices and fulfill their priority sector lending commitments. So there are 3 exchanges as we speak, the M1, the RXIL and the Invoice Mart. All these platforms are operational. Last year, friends, about 11,000 crores were distributed to MSMEs under these 3 exchanges. So sometimes these initiatives are there, but we just figure it out as it becomes popular. So let's not wait for that. We try out some of these things, and I'm sure that's the edge that we carry in our competitive marketplace. As far as Atmanirbhar Bharat goes, apart from these existing benefits, the Atmanirbhar Bharat flagship announcement was this emergency credit line to MSMEs for 3 lakh crores. Now, friends, there is a question generally that are traders eligible for MSME or not? And many of us on the webinar today may be from the trading community. So from a very strict perspective, traders cannot register themselves for Udyog Aadhar, and some of these benefits are not available to traders. But this scheme, which is the emergency credit line of MSME, is also available to traders. And in fact, it is also available to non-registered MSME. So even if you are not registered with the Udyog Aadhar, you are still entitled for this 3 lakh crore of emergency credit line that has been announced. What is this scheme? We have an established bank representative to help us in the subsequent session, but this is basically for no additional collateral, for no guarantee fee. Your existing bankers will give you 20% additional loan. This 20% is linked to your outstanding loan on end of February. So if in the end of February, you had borrowed 10 crore rupee, within this week, you will get a letter from your banks that look, end of February, you have 10 crore limit. I am giving you 2 crores additional limit. Do you want to opt out? So it's a mechanism where it is going to be by push and not by pull. So you have to actually then as a MSME say that I want to opt out. So the banks will communicate to you that you are eligible for this additional 2 crore of loan. Can I increase your limit? It's a 4-year tenure. The first 12 months, no need of repayment of any principal. And then in 36 equal installments, you will pay the EMI. Interest is also capped if you take from banks at 9.25%. And if you take from NBFCs, then at 14%. Now these friends, the total MSME book of all lenders is about 16 lakh crore. Now on 16 lakh crore, 3 lakh crore is a big number. And when you are giving it without any, kind of rigorous processes, then you can expect that this window and this scheme may be completely utilized by 31st of October 2020. There is a second scheme. The first scheme is available only for standard MSMEs. So SMA 0 and SMA 1 are the category of accounts that are eligible for this 3 lakh crore emergency line. But if you are a SMA 2 or a NPA or a stressed account, the subordinate debt scheme of 20,000 crore is also now announced, under which through a scheduled commercial bank, you can get up to 75 lakh of loan, and you are required to infuse that 75 lakh crore, 75 lakh rupees as a capital in the MSME. So MSME gets equity, but effectively it's a debt that has gone into equity. The third scheme is equity infusion. Now, friends, personally, I think that, the first two are debt, and beyond a point, debt is like sugar in tea, and you need to be limited in terms of how much you put, more maybe harmful. But equity infusion of 50,000 crores is a big one to my mind. Because once you provide 50,000 crore of equity and a 2:1 of debt is to equity ratio, you are looking at 150,000 crore of capital made available to MSMEs over and above the 3 lakh crore of loan. That can be a big difference in terms of capitalizing the MSMEs. An announcement was made that global tenders for orders up to 200 crores, global tendering will not be allowed. So earlier, larger tenders used to go to the embassy of various countries, and the embassy would forward it to their respective industry associations. Now, for less than 200 crores, Government of India will not send tender to any embassy. Indian companies and Indian MSMEs can bid for that. Last, I don't know if it is a benefit or it should have been done, but the receivables of MSME will be cleared within 45 days is something that comes in called as a benefit. I would think it should have been done anyways, but yes, that's a benefit of releasing the dues from CPSEs. So friends, I'll take 3-4 FAQs which I have drafted, understanding the profile of the participants here. The question is that, is it necessary to do any regular filings for Udyog Aadhaar? Is it complex? Do I need to do any annual filings, any audit requirement? The answer is no. Once you apply for a Udyog Aadhaar, it remains permanent as a number that you have. It is advisable that whenever there is a change in status, there is a change in your number or your contact address, you update the database so that the data bank is updated and people have relevant information in terms of your strength. But otherwise, there's no regular filing with Udyog Aadhaar. How is investment value to be calculated in case assets are purchased in more than one tranches? So you have started your plant in 1999, you upgraded it in 2005, and again you did some upgradation in 2015. How do you calculate it? So the Act says that you have to add the gross book value. मतलब जो भी invoice value है, you add the 3 invoice value without depreciation and find out whether it is below that limit or not. Again, only plant and machinery. We are not talking about land, building, or anything else in this regard. Are pure trading entities allowed to be registered under Udyog Aadhaar? The answer strictly is no, because it's only for manufacturing and services. But as we spoke, there is no check and balance today that is happening in terms of registration of MSME, whether you are a trading or manufacturing or services. So even if you put up something, your registration will still go through. But maybe when someone looks at with a fine comb, they would figure out that you are a trading entity. So by default, it's for manufacturing and services. But I see as we speak, a lot of trading entities also rightly or wrongly registered and having Udyog Aadhaar. Can professionals like chartered accountants, lawyers, company secretaries, architects get registered as MSME? Answer is yes. So for all professionals or helping their clients, you can also yourself register as an MSME. Is registration must for availing the benefits of MSMEs? For most of them, yes. But like this emergency line, they have said that no need for registration. We will still give you 20% of your working capital limit. In that case, it is not necessary. But for most of the other things, registration as a MSME and Udyog Aadhaar will aid some of the things that you are wanting to do. Are there any downside or cost for registration of Udyog Aadhaar? No cost at all. you can do it yourself without any fees. I don't see any downside because it is a beneficial provision. But sometimes there is a perception or a misconception that how will my client or how will my customer look at me when he knows that I have a MSME registration and potentially I can take him to Samadhan, or he will have to pay interest to me. So if there are two MSMEs, one is registered MSME and second is not registered MSME, whether he will consider me or not. But I think those are ill-founded. The moment we fall into that, and more people are also acknowledging the fact, we will have to stand up for our rights and benefits without figuring how it will work. But that's potentially the only downside that I see in terms of how would the clients or customers perceive you. Other than that, I don't see any downside in terms of getting a registration. So friends, I think I have overshot my time by about 5 minutes. But I think in the first session, this is where we wanted to bring all of you up to speed in terms of MSME, what are the existing benefits, what are the new benefits, and keep posting your relevant questions so that in the subsequent session, when we are taking questions, we can clearly answer some of the questions that you may have. Thank you, friends, for giving me a patient hearing. Over to you, Mangesh ji and Sudeep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anandji. I would, as we have a full quorum, and this MSME's concept was given by our VP Apex Vijayji Bhandari, as Jito comprises of 95% MSME around India. We are 40,000 family around India, and 95% fall under MSME. And he wanted that we should make such a session where the benefits are percolated to every MSME within Jito and extended Jito families. I would request Vijayji to please give quick rebut on nationally what Jito is doing, what Jito has done in the COVID era in the social cause as well as from the MSC perspective. Vijayji Bhandari.
जय जिनेंद्र, हैप्पी इवनिंग। विशेष तौर के ऊपर धन्यवाद आनंद जी आपको। आपने बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से, मतलब जो हमारी ऑब्जेक्ट था उस ऑब्जेक्ट के हिसाब से लोगों ने आपने बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से एमएसएमई का क्या हो सकता है, बिकॉज द रीजन इज दैट राइट नाउ वी आर लिसनिंग मैनी वेबिनार्स on motivational speeches, many things is going on. People are talking about कि भाई MSME से क्या होने वाला है, exactly आत्मनिर्भर भारत यानी क्या होने वाला है, and you are giving a right path that what exactly people should do, and यही होना चाहिए था, and that was the reason we were thinking about this webinar, and thank you for coming here, as well as मैं यहाँ पर विशेष तौर के ऊपर मैं इनको भी ये करना चाहूँगा कि बैंकिंग सेक्टर के अंदर जो हमारे पास अभी एक स्पीकर आए हुए हैं उनको भी मैं विशेष तौर के ऊपर धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा कि आपने यहाँ पर आज इस जीतो के प्लेटफॉर्म पे आकर आपने हमें मौका दिया, इसके लिए बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। श्री रामायर कनन, जीएम कैनरा बैंक। उसी के साथ साथ विशेष तौर के ऊपर धन्यवाद मैं देना चाहूंगा मंगेश जी कटारिया और सुदीप जी छल्लानी, इनको, दिस पीपल हैड वर्कड वेरी हार्ड फॉर ब्रिंगिंग ऑल दिस पीपल हियर। नेशनल अपेक्स जीतो, एज यू नो दिस इज अ ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, और बहुत ही जबरदस्त तरीके से जीतो पिछले 14 साल के अंदर पूरे भारतवर्ष में छाया है। ये 14 वर्ष के अंदर हमारे बहुत सारे लोग, हमने एक प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया है जिट इज बेसिकली ऑन द ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, और जहां पर हम हमारे ट्रेड को किस तरह से हम लोग ज्यादा सशक्त कर सकते हैं। एज राइटली टोल्ड बाय अजय, 94% ऑफ द पीपल आर हियर इन द एमसीई, और बहुत सारे लोग इसके अंदर ऑलरेडी रजिस्टर्ड है, लेकिन बहुत सारी समस्याएं हैं, बहुत सारी प्रश्न थे जो आज इस सेशन के द्वारा हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ शायद इसको सॉल्व कर पाएंगे। उसके साथ साथ हमारे महाराष्ट्र के चेयरमैन राजेश जी सांकला भी यहाँ पर उपस्थित है, कांतिलाल ओसवाल चेयरमैन, ही इज ऑल्सो देयर। उसी के साथ हमारे एपेक डायरेक्टर शाजी जी सेठिया इज देयर, चकोर भाई गांधी, एंड मेनी पीपल आई लुकिंग हियर, ट्रेजरर हेमंत बाफना एंड ऑल पीपल आए। कोविड के अंदर 70 दिन के अंदर हम लोगों ने अपने आप को, मतलब जैसे कि हमारे माननीय पंतप्रधान ने कहा आत्मनिर्भर भारत, वैसे हमने अपने आप को इंटरप्रेट करने का बहुत सारा प्रयास किया है, और इस दौरान हम लोगों ने बहुत सारी चीजों को अपने आप में एक ढालने की कोशिश की कि हम लोग अपने आप में किस तरह से आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, और उसी के दौरान इस अलग अलग वेबिनार्स लिए गए हैं। कोविड में बहुत सारे काम हम लोगों ने सेवा कार्य के तो किए ही है, उसके साथ साथ हम लोग we are basically focusing on that post COVID आने वाले समय के अंदर क्या क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ सकती है, व्हाट गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग, व्हाट वी हैव टू डू एंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द थिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन। और उसके लिए इस बहुत सारे वेबिनार्स के प्रयोजन हम लोग कर रहे हैं। हमारे साथ बहुत सारे लोग जो हुए हैं, जैसे आपने भी कहा था कि यहाँ पर ट्रेडिंग कम्युनिटी बहुत बड़ी है, बड़े तादाद के अंदर लोग इसमें जुड़े हुए हैं और उनके बहुत सारे प्रश्न रहेंगे। मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा, आपको विशेष तौर के ऊपर धन्यवाद दूंगा और पूरी टीम को धन्यवाद दूंगा कि आप जैसे स्पीकर यहाँ पर लेकर आए और 40 मिनट्स के अंदर काफी सारे प्रश्न हमारे सुलझा दिए। थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच अजय।
थैंक यू विजय भाई। इट्स वंडरफुल, ये सेशन करवाने में मुख्य भूमिका थी और ये बहुत जरूरी भी था। अब मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कांतिलाल जी ओसवाल, चैप्टर चेयरमैन, वो अपना वक्तव्य रखे एंड देन वी मूव टू नेक्स्ट सेशन। कांति भाई।
सभी को प्रणाम। बेनिफिट्स एंड बैंक, हमारे श्री आज के स्पीकर जो है मिस्टर रमैया जी कानन जी, जीएम कैनरा बैंक एवं सीए आनंद जी बाटिया, तो आप सभी का जीतो पुणे चैप्टर की ओर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आज हमारे इस वेबिनार में हमारे वीपी एपेक्स श्री विजय जी भंडारी, हमारे जोन चेयरमैन श्री राजेश जी सांकला, चीफ सेक्रेटरी श्री अजय जी मेहता, हमारे बीओडी के बहुत सारे मेंबर्स यहाँ आज आए हुए हैं। साथ में हमारी B2B कमेटी के संजय जी संघवी, सचिन जी नहार और जिन्होंने आज का मॉडरेटर्स कर रहे हैं हमारे सीए मंगेश जी कटारिया एवं सुदेश जी छलानी। अब जैसे कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि मोदी जी ने जब भी किया अनाउंसमेंट किया आत्मनिर्भर भारत पैकेज का, और उसमें MSME यानी तो सूक्ष्म लघु एवं जो मध्यम उद्योग है उनके लिए जो उन्होंने विभिन्न व्यवसायों को बढ़ावा देने के लिए जो पैकेज किया 3 लाख करोड़ रुपए का, तो उसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे क्वेश्चन हमारे सामने आए कि ये एक्चुअली में है क्या। क्योंकि हमने देखिए कि जैन कम्युनिटी हम लोग काम बहुत करते हैं, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट के जो बेनिफिट्स रहते हैं वो लेने में हम लोग बहुत बार पीछे रह जाते हैं। तो विजय जी ने ये सुझाव दिया था कि हमको ये इस समय में ये लेना चाहिए, और सच में आज आनंद जी ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से ये हमें बताया कि उसको कोलेटरल फी जो ऑटोमेटिक लोन हमें मिलने वाला है वो हम कैसे प्राप्त करें, और साथ में जो 20,000 करोड़ रुपए का जो तनावग्रस्त सूक्ष्म लघु उद्योग है उनके लिए जो लोन मिलने वाला है, और फंड्स ऑफ फंड्स के जरिए भी MSME को जो 50,000 करोड़ रुपीज जो मिलने वाला है इक्विटी इन्फ्यूजन के माध्यम से। तो ये सब बहुत अच्छी तरह आपने हमें उसमें गाइड किया आनंद जी। बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन थे वो ऑटोमेटिकली मेरे ख्याल से बहुत सारे लोगों के क्वेश्चन क्लियर हो गए होंगे। तो फिर से एक बार जीतो पुणे चैप्टर की ओर से आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। और मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत ही हम सभी को, जो बिजनेस कम्युनिटी है मोस्टली हमारी, ये हम सभी को ये बहुत ही वेबिनार उपयोगी सिद्ध होगा। थैंक यू, और आपका जीतो पुणे चैप्टर की ओर से फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू कांति भाई। एंड राजेश जी सांकला हमारे जोन चेयरमैन भी मौजूद है, मैं चाहूंगा कि 1 मिनट वो भी अपना वक्तव्य रखे। राजेश जी सांकला।
जय गणेश। जय गणेश।
यस राजू भाई, जय गणेश।
आवाज आ रही है? जय गणेश आ रहा है। चलो, थैंक यू वेरी मच। बहुत अच्छा सेशन लिया है आज के इस वक्त में। सबको जरूरी थी इस सेशन की, कोई किसको पूछना, कैसा पूछे, किससे कैसी बात करे, ये और हर एक का अपना अपना अलग ओपिनियन था। लेकिन आनंद जी ने जो आज बताया वो क्लियर, सब बहुत लोगों के क्वेश्चन आंसर क्लियर किए। विजय भंडारी ने आपको दिया हुआ कंसेप्ट, और कांति भाई, अजय भाई, आपने, चलानी जी ने, इस सब ने जो उठाया है, तो इससे एक एजुकेशन का जो अपने को हमें जो चाहिए था इस बिजनेस के वक्त में, कि हम लोगों को किस तरीके से गवर्नमेंट जो 20 लाख करोड़ दे रही है उसमें से किस तरीके से हम लोगों को क्या आने वाला है, इसकी अच्छी गाइडलाइन आपने दी आनंद जी। थैंक यू वेरी मच सब लोगों के लिए, और थैंक्स टू पुणे चैप्टर की बहुत अच्छा कार्यक्रम किया है। थैंक जय गणेश।
थैंक यू राजू भाई। आई वुड एक्नॉलेज आवर जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी अमित बटेवरा, वाइस chairman national youth Chakurji Gandhi, Hemanji Bafna, and many board members. I can see the names for attending this. Over to you, Mangesh ji, for the next session.
Thank you Ajay bhai. Jai Jinendra, happy evening. We all know that how important it is to have a banking partner, a strong and sustainable growth of our business. Hence today, Jio has decided to invite the banking leader to guide us, resolve our query. It is my pleasure to have with someone whom I personally know. He is a seasoned banker, a man of few words but more action, Mr. Ramayya Kannan. He joined the banking industry in 1984. In his remarkable career, he has worked across India and now leading region as general manager. He has been very proactive in supporting agricultural borrowers. He regularly holds meetings with business fraternity and ensures that customers are financed with least turnaround time. His motto is to make Canara Bank as the first choice of all businessmen. So, without wasting any further time, now I request our guest of honor to take charge of the session and enlighten us on current situation, where most of our business was severely impacted and GITO members wish to know how bankers are being supported in this testing time, how they can avail the amount of stimulus package announced by the Honorable Finance Minister. I request all to join me in welcoming Kannan sir. Thank you. Kannan sir, please take over.
Good evening, friends. At the outset, I wish to thank this association for giving this opportunity to be part of this webinar. There is no need to re-emphasize the role of MSME in the Indian economy. Mr. Anand Bhatia, he has given a vivid picture about MSME in detail. Actually, most of the points is already covered. Some of the points is left out and covering here. Actually, in MSME, it is an employment generator for the country. That too, particularly after this post-COVID situation, India needs employment for the people. So, the COVID has completely destabilized the economy, and if the economy has to be regenerated, we need employment generation. For that, MSME is the only option available to the country. If you see, China as a manufacturing hub, it is losing its importance. And many of the MNCs, they are planning to shift we know the trade war going on between USA and China, and definitely India will be the major beneficiary. And we should make this opportunity and grab the opportunity and encash for the benefit of our country. The government is
अजय
Yes, Vijay bhai.
आवाज ये हो गया रे
We are not able to hear you, Kannan sir.
Voice is also not clear.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should bring the mic near to your table.
the government has announced so many schemes for the MSME sector. And
उनको फोन करके बताइए.
Kannan sir, can you hear me?
मैं कर रहा हूँ, आ जाएगा.
हाँ. It has gone on mute.
Kannan sir, can you hear me, sir?
Kannan sir's mic is also on mute, and I think you need to pull up the mic near to his table so the voice can be more clearer.
Ajay bhai,
क्या मंगेश जी?
I think his laptop crashed, so he's reconnecting. Just give him 2 minutes.
Yeah, can
Okay.
we take one question with Anandji in the
Yes,
meantime?
sure. Anand bhai, we can start.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sudipji,
absolutely.
can you ask one question from the chat? Pick up
Yes,
someone.
sure.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is I have been individually replying to people as well on the chat so that their questions get resolved. But feel
Right.
free to ask. Sudip.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Sudip bhai, please go ahead.
Yes, sure. Can I start?
Yeah.
Whether there are few questions, few of them we have shortlisted it. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Whether only nationalized bank can offer benefits to MSME.
So if we are talking about this emergency credit line of 3 lakh crores, then banks, there is scheduled commercial banks, nationalized and private sector, and NBFCs are also eligible for giving this particular 3 lakh crore emergency credit line, which is there. In fact, certain development institutions are also eligible. So as far as this 3 lakh crore scheme is concerned, it's not restricted only to the nationalized banks.
I have one question, Anandji. You spoke about Samadhan, where there's an arbitration process. If someone registers for MSME today under Udyog Aadhar or something, can he use the old receivables to be put in under the Samadhan activity?
Yeah, so there has been a specific judgment of Delhi High Court in this specific matter in the case of Punj Lloyd, where MSME after taking registration went to Samadhan window and wanted to take benefit of old receivables. The Delhi High Court said that look, registration is only a formality. Registration is only a proof that you are an MSME. But the fact that when you supplied that particular goods or services, if you were below the investment threshold, then even if your registration is later, you can take benefit of the Samadhan portal. So registration per se is more of a persuasive evidence, but not a conclusive evidence. So the fact that you are below the limit, you can go ahead and use the Samadhan window after registration.
Awesome, sir. Thank you. Sudip bhai.
Okay. One of the boiling question is whether real estate is covered under MSME.
So strictly from a MSME perspective, real estate, the closest it gets is to construction services. So when you are registering for MSME, you need to select the NIC code, which is the code that in terms of the services that you are going to render or the goods that you are going to... Correct. So there are only about 8 or 9 NIC codes that are restricted, which is predominantly wholesale trading, retail trading, and those kind of trading activities. So construction service is where most of the real estate business would have registered themselves. The question or the problem comes is that the MSME allows me certain benefits, but there are RBI regulations which say that real estate businesses will not be eligible for certain bank limits or certain bank benefits that are there. And those two are in conflict. So most of the banks have taken a view that even though you are an MSME, the fact that you are in real estate and RBI has certain further restrictions on the real estate sector, you will not be eligible for the benefits. But purely from a registration of MSME, certainly you can get registered.
We have our Apex Director Ajit Ji Setia, Jito Apex Director, and he also associated to Pune Merchant. Ajit Ji, do you have any question? You are a co-host, you can unmute yourself. Yeah. While Ajit Ji come in, Sudip bhai, you can ask another one.
Okay. So the next question is whether the hospitals are covered under MSME.
Yes, and under services, it can get registered.
Okay. Then one of the question is of specific by one of our participant. My firm is a civil construction contracting firm dealing with defense central state department. My bankers are saying that my services are not covered for collateral free loan, and neither the credit guarantee trust approved the same. So whether the firm is being covered under the same or not.
So the business per se of supplying to CDSO or DSDO will get complied, and if you fall under the threshold, you can take the MSME registration. For taking this 20% collateral free, I was hoping that the banker can come and communicate the mechanics, but since he has some disconnect, let me spend 2 minutes on this emergency credit line scheme. Now, what the government has said is that whatever is your outstanding fund-based limit, non-fund-based doesn't have to be calculated. Whatever is your outstanding fund-based limit from banks and NBFCs, as of 29th February 2020, you will get a automated 20% additional sanction unless you opt out for it. That is the general guidelines. There is a second paragraph which says that banks have to exercise necessary care, diligence, and viability of the proposal. Now, what we are hearing from the banks is that they are only doing a limited check to make sure that there is no gross pilferage of this 20%. So some banks may come up with certain additional requirements to say that you should also comply with last requirements that you had not given me. Last time you did not give me a stop statement for 3 months. So they may have their additional checks and balances just to make sure that the viability and due care has been taken. But the message from the top is very clear. Make sure that MSMEs have the requisite liquidity to ride through this tide. So yes, there may be other reasons by which the banks may say that you are not eligible for a collateral-free loan, but not something that is a part of the scheme.
We have our National Youth Vice Chairman Chakorji Gandhi. He raised hand. Chakorji, your co-host, please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, Bhatia, my question is, when we are saying the banks are giving 20% more, now the banks told me first year I have to pay the interest. Now any EMI, the interest for first year is 90% of the EMI. So how do you deal with this? Is it true?
So, sir, I think what will happen is that the EMIs start from the 13th month. For the first 12 months, it is only going to be the interest. But when you are calculating this first 12-month interest, you shouldn't consider the interest as a split from the EMI. You should consider a normal monthly interest and pay. The problem is the scheme is just come out 3-4 days before, and it was only on 1st of June, the first day, that the bank started lending. On the first day, they disbursed about 4,000 crores. So more and more, as the system gets curated with what are the provisions, you will find these questions getting avoided. But it will not be an EMI linked interest. It will be interest for that month that you will have to pay.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Sudeep bhai, Mangesh bhai, next one.
Yes.
Ajay bhai.
Yeah.
Kannan sir is live now.
Okay. What is his name? Okay, sir. Yeah. So he is already co-host, right?
Kannan sir, you can start.
Please start, sir. Kannan sir.
Thank you, Mangesh. Sir, if you see the total credit demand from the MSME sector, it is roughly 16,30,000 crores. Out of that, through the formal sources, credit comes to the extent of 60%. Out of that, scheduled commercial banks provide 84%. So there is a credit gap of 58,22,000 crores. So there is a huge opportunity for the banks as well as NBFC to fund the MSME segment. And actually the problem in the MSME segment is most of the MSME customers, they are not aware of the schemes available for them, the benefits available for them. It's the right step taken by the association to create awareness in this area. So last year, the central government, they asked all the banks to conduct outreach program to create awareness among the MSME customers and conduct loan melas also. And all the banks conducted in all the blocks in the country, and all the banks distributed around 81,000 crores for MSME segment. And if you see the outlook for the MSME sector, lot of initiatives have been taken by the central government in this direction. So the budget allocation towards MSME segment comes to 8%, to the extent of 7,572 crores. So for technology upgradation front, government has allocated 805 crores. And because of this GST issues, a special OTS program, that is one-time restructuring scheme was announced, that has been extended up to 31st March 2021. And as already explained by Mr. Anand Bhatia, subordinated debt scheme for MSME to the extent of 20,000 crores has been announced by the government. And for the SMA 3 and the NPA customers, that 50,000 scheme is also available. If you take our Canara Bank, they got lot of schemes for the MSME segment. The total amount funded by the banks to the MSME segment is to the extent of 17,40,000 crores. Along with the NBFCs. Out of that, the finance provided by the banks is to the extent of 11.52 lakh crores. If you see the schemes available in the banking sector towards the MSME segment, the first and foremost scheme is Mudra Loan Scheme. Mudra Loan Scheme is available up to the extent of 10 lakh rupees. So there are three schemes: Shishu, Kishore and Tarun. Shishu is available up to 50,000 rupees and Kishore is available from 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees and Tarun is available for 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupees. There is no subsidy and so far more than 10 lakh crore has been disbursed in this Mudra Loan Scheme. And it is definitely a game changer by this government. Second one is Stand Up India and Startup India. Stand Up India scheme is available for SC/ST beneficiaries and women beneficiaries. It is available from 1 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees. It should be a greenfield project, that's the first time project, and no subsidies available for this scheme. And for Mudra scheme also, there is no subsidy available. And if you take PMEGP, that is Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Program, subsidy is available from 50% to 30%, depending upon the category of borrower as well as the area. And the 2% interest subvention scheme is also available for the customers, MSME customers. It is for fresh loans as well as for enhancements given to the MSME customers. So restructuring scheme, as already described by me, it is available. And if you take to facilitate digital banking, the customer need not approach any bank. They can apply through online. PSB loans in 59minutes.com. In online, they can apply. They will get the provisional sanction within 59 minutes. They have to upload the KYC documents and the IT returns and all the required papers through online. Bank statements and other things through online. They will get the provisional sanction within 59 minutes. Then subsequently, they can select the bank from which they want the finance from the pick list. Then the bank will do the proper due diligence and they will give the sanctions immediately. And the recent times, for the COVID also, 10% COVID loans are being given by the banks, apart from this GECL, as explained by Mr. Anand. Guaranteed emergency credit line is there. That is to the extent of 20%. Apart from that, along with the retail loans, MSME loans are eligible for 10% loan. That is to the extent of the limit available for the customer, including fund-based and non-fund-based limits. 6 months moratorium is available, and the repayment is for 2 years. And this GECL is also available for the customers, apart from this COVID facility. The GECL is available up to 25 crores, and the balance outstanding as on 29/2, 20% will be available. Is not available for non-fund-based limits, and the maximum rate of interest should not exceed 9.25%. There is a moratorium of 1 year and a repayment of 3 years. The interest has to be serviced during the moratorium period. That is also available. It's a pre-approved scheme. It is completely guaranteed. There is no collateral required for this scheme, and it is completely guaranteed by the NGCTC Trust. It's an excellent scheme, and it is available to the extent of 3 lakh crores. So if you take Canara Bank as a whole, we have got tailor-made scheme for all the segments of the customers. Apart from these government-sponsored schemes. Under the steps taken by Canara Bank, there is a separate vertical for MSME. And MSME Sulabh branches have been opened to have centralized processing and sanctioning of loans. And especially SME branches have been opened for quick turnaround time. So definitely, there have been specified timelines for sanctioning of MSME loans. Not only for, actually the latest amendment is, apart from MSME, trader loans are also eligible for, they are also coming under MSME. That is the greatest advantage. And that CGTMSE cover is available up to 2 crores. And apart from that, if some customer is having collateral security, you can have a hybrid scheme, a partial amount for under CGTMSE scheme and partial amount under with the collateral security. That is also available. If full coverage is not available, you can go for partial CGTMSE coverage also. That is one of the benefits. So tailor-made schemes are available for doctors, contractors, traders, and MSME service manufacturing service units. So with the easy terms, depending upon the rating of the customer, at a very, very cheap rate, bank is providing schemes. So only thing is, customers have to get sensitized and come to know the details of the scheme and benefit from the banking sector instead of approaching NBFCs or private financiers. I thank Mr. Mangesh for providing this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your valuable time.
Thank you.
We have some questions for banking.
Yes, sir.
One is like Chakorbai has already asked actually, but you can also enlighten on that particular aspect. He wants to know, like, basically EMI is almost 90%, interest is almost 90% of the EMI. And bank is asking for that 90%. So whether is any solution available for the borrower?
No, sir. For this 1 year moratorium period, interest has to be serviced, sir.
So he has to pay the whole 90%, right?
For that 1 year moratorium period, he has to service only the interest portion.
Exactly, but that
50% of the amount given,
Right.
This interest only has to be serviced.
Okay.
You need not repay the principal, and after the alternate period, it will become EMI for the 3 years.
Most of the bankers are insisting for project report.
Yes, sir.
So is it compulsory? One question is there. So
Project report, sir.
bankers are insisting for project report. MSME, they feel like giving project report becomes a burden for them. So whether project report should be compulsory for MSME borrowers?
Project report will contain all the details about the activity, what is going to do. That will give you a bird's eye view of the thing, what he is planning to do itself. That's why we are insisting for project report.
Okay. And if someone has a borrowing which is now, they are not utilized, basically, underutilized limits are there.
Yes,
so they can get that 20% benefit, right?
No, sir. This is outstanding balance as on 29/2.
Okay. So whatever is the outstanding.
Estimate will not be eligible, sir. For example,
irrespective of the sanction.
Credit balance in the OD account, they will not be eligible, sir.
Okay. We have some questions for Anand Bhai also. Anand Bhai, if you can come live.
Yes, Mangesh.
Yeah. One is your PPT, whether you can share that PPT for
yes,
those who are joining.
I will send across to you and maybe you can share it with everyone. Or I have also given my email ID on the chat and I can send it, if someone wants through that email ID.
Thank you. Now, there is one question like, if we are already registered earlier in MSME, should we register again for Udyog Aadhar?
So the earlier EM1 or entrepreneur memorandum that you would have done, those automatically get translated into Udyog Aadhar. So if you are registered, no need to again register for Udyog Aadhar.
Okay. There is one foreign company, which is basically, they have tie-up for manufacturing in India. So the whole assets are owned by the foreign company and the manufacturing is done by an Indian partner. It's kind of like, I would say, more like a job work, but not necessarily a job work. So there are a lot of other aspects also to it. But whether they can get themselves registered as a MSME, this thing, where the turnover is fitting into the new definition, their turnover would be fitting into the new norms.
So I think you will need
whether
to see
they can avail the benefits.
Yeah, so you will need to see the audited financial statements to make sure whether their gross block is being reflected in that company's books of accounts or financial statements. If as per accounting standard, the gross block is not in this subsidiary company, then it will be eligible. So this follows the accounting standard in terms of recognition of assets.
Okay. Thank you. How to apply for credit guarantee trust fund? Can enlighten? Kannan sir?
Sir?
Credit guarantee trust fund.
No, the bank will take care, sir. When you are eligible, the scheme, bank will take care. You need not apply separately. Bank will take care.
Okay. Sudeep?
Customer has to pay only the premium.
Okay.
So there is one more question. If anybody doesn't have any fund-based loan as on February end, whether they can take the benefit of the same?
No, they are not eligible. They are not eligible.
Sorry?
They are not eligible, sir. Only outstanding balance is available in the account as of 29/2. They are eligible. 20% of that will be eligible.
Good evening. I'm Ajit Sethi. Yeah. There are two questions. One is, can a new firm or a new establishment or a new project avail the same benefits?
So as far as this all MSME benefits are concerned, you will get post the registration that you do. The emergency credit line of 3 lakh crores that Mr. Kannan just highlighted, that is available only if you have an existing loan as of February end. So you will not qualify for that, but other benefits will certainly be available once you register as a MSME.
Okay. And are the benefits available for unsecured loans also, the 20%?
This will be the formal financing that you have from the bank and the NBFCs. If it is a promoter unsecured loan, that will not be counted in the 20% limit.
Okay, thank you.
Anand bhai, there is one person who's getting his products manufactured from an OEM. Whether he will be considered as a manufacturer?
So I think it again boils down to the accounting standard, whether he is showing his revenue from trading activities or revenue from manufacturing activities. In a large cases, even if it is job work, if the risk and reward of the product lies with you, if the inventory risk is with you, if the price risk is with you, is the insurable interest with you, then effectively you will say that this is a product for you and you will show it as manufacturing. But if you are just doing trading, then it is only wholesale and retail trading that is debarred. And this being a beneficial provision, we should look at it liberally. So even if you have a mix of two, you should maybe take a view that is more purposive, being a beneficial provision. One question, Mangeshji, that also is typically coming to a lot of MSMEs is that if you have more than one bank, if you have 3 or 4 banks who have given you loan, then how will this 20% additional financing work? So the guidelines, and of course, Mr. Kannan can chime in wherever required, but it is also possible that other banks can give NOC in favor of one bank, so that only one bank will give you that particular 20% facility. So you don't have to go to 3 banks. One bank can give you that limit with NOC from other banks.
Yes, sir. You're right, sir. Actually, borrower has the choice. He can get a NOC from the other banks. He can prefer to avail the loan from only from one bank.
Yeah.
But total outstanding should not exceed 25 crores.
Yeah. And so is it right that the banks will write to the various borrowers that this is your limit and whether you would like to opt or not? Because we are seeing different banks doing different way. So is it that banks will suo motu write to the borrowers?
Sir, actually, the bank will get the information from through the CIBIL report, sir. We will get the information what is the total outstanding to the banking system of the borrower and arrive the eligibility. The total outstanding should not exceed 25 crores and the total turnover should not exceed 100 crores.
Right.
And for arriving the turnover, only declaration is sufficient, sir.
Okay.
Kannan sir,
Yes, sir.
What are the special schemes for collateral free? Like basically you have already announced, but what basically the borrowers are seeing is like there is resistance from the bankers for CG TMSC scheme, Mudra scheme. So the bankers are not very open for providing such loans.
No, already banks have provided more than 10 lakh crores to Mudra loans, sir.
Right.
10 lakhs Mudra loans are there. About 10 lakhs, definitely you would like to, banks will prefer to obtain collateral security, but it is not compulsory, sir. They cannot refuse. That's why that ps59minutes.com is there. You can apply online. They cannot reject the application without sufficient reasons.
Okay, so it's suggested is to apply online.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you upload the necessary documents online, the bank cannot reject the loan just like that. Only on the ground that collateral is not available.
Anand bhai, for our women entrepreneurs, what are the special schemes in MSME? If you can highlight few.
I think in that MSME ministry scheme, there are a few schemes which are for women entrepreneurs. And these are predominantly linked to the rural sectors, coir sectors, Krishi sector, and that list is available on the MSME website. In fact, there are also certain RBI schemes which are encouraging women empowerment in terms of reduction of interest rate. So it may not be so relevant from a Pune perspective or maybe the members of Jito perspective directly, but yes, there are schemes which are in the socially relevant segment that are there towards women empowerment.
Stand Up India scheme is also there, sir. Up to 1 crore. From 1 lakh to 1 crore, Stand Up India scheme is also there.
Anandji,
Yes, Sudeep.
there are a lot of questions coming with respect to turnover. What would be the exact definition for the turnover or while considering a registration in MSME?
Yeah, so for the turnover registration, as per MSME is concerned, you would take as per your audited financial statements, the net revenue. So if you have any kind of GST or other indirect taxes that you have added, then you would not consider that. And in fact, also there was earlier a very clear-cut view that export revenues will not be calculated when you are considering the turnover. But in this new notification that has come in this day before yesterday, there is no bifurcation between domestic and export revenue. Thereby, there is one view that where the limit has been increased to 250 crores, it should include your domestic plus export. So some clarity is required there, but at least now we were considering only domestic net turnover from an eligibility perspective.
Okay.
Many customers do not pay in 45 days. Like there is a question like how to go about it, because obviously you know the customer and the supplier relationship also is a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of penal things like one complaint, then the income tax, there is a issue, then a lot of issues, company law, MC and a lot of things are there.
Yeah.
So how to balance the whole situation?
In fact, sir, what we see is that only if you don't want to maintain relationship with that client or customer, are you going to Samadhan to recover? Because then you can't expect, maybe future orders unless you are in a very different bargaining position. So one of the thought process in the MSME ministry as we speak, and also, the RBI committee, is that all invoice-wise reporting is now happening on the GST portal. And along with the reporting, MSMEs will also need to report invoices more than a particular threshold. So if as a MSME, I will not have a choice, but I will have to upload invoices more than 10 lakhs on that portal. And so that data will by default be available with the government and actions can be taken by default. So what they want to avoid is that MSMEs don't have to take any active action for recovery, but the system should make sure that the recovery happens, because MSMEs are not in a bargaining power that they can go and file a Samadhan unless it is a last transaction with the customer. So once this automatic online invoice updation comes into place, hopefully that will solve this issue of people not coming forward as well.
Okay. So there is one more question coming up. If we register under MSME in the month of June, then can we go for Samadhan scheme for earlier period?
Yeah, so I referred to the Delhi High Court judgment, which was specifically in this case. Even in that case, the registration was obtained later, but the dues and the transactions were of an earlier period. And the court held that even though registration is later, the fact that even earlier you were complying with the thresholds of investment, you will continue to get the benefit of the Samadhan scheme. In insolvency and bankruptcy now also, there are judgments by NCLT to say that registration of MSME may not be a conclusive proof. But the fact that you fall under the thresholds, that itself is a conclusive proof. Registration is only a process by which you are formalizing the MSME status.
Okay.
Can I take one last question, Sudeep bhai?
Yeah, last question.
So we can conclude.
Basically, we want to know whether agro and food processing unit can avail the benefits of MSME and what are the schemes, special schemes from the MSME point of view. Kannan sir.
MSME is agro processing is also considered as part of MSME, sir. Just like other manufacturing units, agro processing is also considered part of MSME only. All the other benefits which are available to MSME is available for agro processing.
Okay.
fact, Mangeshji, from the 32 schemes that we saw, more than half of them would be for agro and food processing units. So, I think Ajit ji has asked that question. Going on champions.com, champions.gov.in, there is a section of existing schemes and new schemes. And you can filter it based on your industry. So you can see that which are the food processing related schemes available. And there is a link against that only, which will give you details of the full scheme and how do you apply for that. So I think a lot of work has been done by the ministry in compiling. It's up to us now how much we go ahead. They have brought the horse to the water, but making them drink is something that we will have to stretch ourselves.
True. Ajay bhai?
Wonderful, sir. Yes, it was a wonderful session. It's almost 5:45, and that's what we've decided we would conclude at this session during this time. MSME benefits and the questions I can see, there are many questions which would come. I would request Mangesh ji and Sudhir ji to design something where the JITO members can still ask questions and you can just help them during the course of next at least 3-4 days or so, because we can't cover all the questions, and when they deep dive into this, they will have more questions coming out, or when they read this, what Anand ji has given us, they may have more questions when they really want to apply. I would like to thank our today's both the speaker, Anand ji Bhatia and Kannan Saab, for their time invested with JITO members and all the participants, and giving this great information which was needed during this time. Once again, thank you to our VP Apex to rightly bring this idea on table and helped us to get this session done, which was really important, as everyone had some question, including me, which was their pinpoint and pain point when they are in the office day-to-day basis. I would like to thank chapter chairman, all the participants, zone chairman,